Hey guys, never mind my voice. I am just a little under the weather. I have a cold. This is the line I was telling the both of you about. I use this on every single trade. I will not enter a trade unless I have these as my confirmations. I'm not going to tell you that I don't get caught in pullbacks. Once in a blue moon, I will, but I'll tell you out of every 30 trades, I probably get caught in one pullback. So that's a pretty good average. And based on what happened to you today, Trey, you really want to avoid those pullbacks because had it been your live account and you went back that far, you might have had to hold that or lose all that money. So what happens is if you end up holding a pullback, you don't know how far back it's going to go. It could possibly blow your account if you over leveraged. And second, if you didn't over leverage and you can hold it, it will stop you from trading for the next day, 2 days, possibly 3 or 4 days, depending on how big of a pullback it is. It happened to me once where I took several positions out on a trade and it started to pull back immediately. And I didn't notice I was in the middle of something. And I ended up having to hold that thing for 3.5 days. So it wasn't a big deal. I knew it was turning around, but just think about the money that I lost because I had to hold that thing for 3.5 days. So there were other pairs I could have been trading instead of just holding that. So that's why you want to try to avoid as many pullbacks as you can. And this will also help you know when to get out. So if you're in a trade and it's running, 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 whether it's a buy or a sell, and you're all excited, you're seeing all this money, it's blue, 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 and you're thinking, okay, when should I get out? When should I get out? Right? We all have that thought. Look at this line right here, this yellow line. I probably should have started with the yellow line, right? Because it'll tell you when to get out. And I'm gonna show you some examples so you kind of understand it. So this yellow line, which is, let me show you. This is the cloud. You guys have seen it. I'm gonna show it to you so you know, right? That's normally what it looks like, a hot mess. So I go into settings and I take these three off along with that top one. I leave the baseline and the lagging line. I have mine yellow just because I want it to stick out because this line is very important to me, this baseline. I want it to stick out that way I see if there's a pullback coming. So this is when this line is flat ever, whenever it is flat, that's because it's in the middle of a pullback. Now, we're here on the 4 hour, and I believe this is a buy. Yes, this is a buy. We're on the 4 hour, and you're probably saying, okay, well, this is a buy, so why is it showing it as a pullback? And I'll show you right now. Let's go down to the 1 hour. There we go, pullback, and as you can see, it's starting. There's a sell. There's a red candle right there, so it's starting to sell. But if you see, go down to the 1 minute, you'll see that's why that line is flat. So whatever's happening on the 1 minute, the hour will reflect it. So I believe you guys enter on the 1 hour. Can't really remember Chris Derek's technique exactly, but I believe he enters on the 1 hour. So you're always going to, whenever you see this line flat, the very first thing you want to do is go down to the 1 minute and see what's going on because chances are it's on a pullback. So what do you do when you see this line? See it there, it's flat. So it's still on a pullback. Even though you see it coming back up, I would not enter. And there you go. And that's why, because you see it's coming back down again. So I would not enter this until that line, that yellow line, the baseline, is pointing up. I also will not enter until this lagging line, this green line right here, is pointing up. So these two lines for me, hold on. Those two lines have to point up if it's a buy. Now, if I'm selling, they would have to be pointing down, obviously. So I wait. So right now, if this was a sell for me, this would be good to go, and I would just be waiting on that one. And once that pointed down, then I would put in for a sell if I was scalping maybe on a 5 minute. I'm pretty sure this will go down to here. But you always want to look for that. And the same if you're in a trade and you're looking for when to jump out. What will it look like when you need to know it's time to jump out? Let's see if I can find something. Hold on. Because I want you to get a good idea of what it's going to look like. It's gonna look similar to this, but not that. Hold on, let's keep looking. Let's see. Okay, so this is a good example right here. You see how the yellow line right here again, the baseline, is close. It's close to the candles. Then all of a sudden, it starts to move out. It's moving out because there's a pullback. So as you can see, it pulled back right here. So you'll see that a little bit here. That's why it was out. Then you see the flat lines. But it's still, if you look at this line, it's still pointing outward. It's not pointing down. It's not getting close. So that tells me that there's still more pullbacks to come. It's still not pointing down. It has to point down for me. And as you can see right here on the 1 minute, there you go. It's not done pulling back. So until this thing is pointing straight down and close to the candles, I'm not jumping in the trade because I want to be sure. See, this is what it's always going to look like. So when you're in the trade, let's say you were in this trade for a sell. You were good this whole time. Then all of a sudden, you're going to see this right here. Exactly how it looks. It's going to start pointing out. Whenever you see that pointing out, you don't have to jump out right away, but that's a sign it's about to be it's on one of the charts. So I would go down to the 1 minute because it's about to pull back. So it gives you kind of a warning that something's coming, right? So you can go down to the 1 minute and it'll probably be, this has already started, but normally if that yellow baseline just started to point out, you could come down to the 1 minute and it'd probably still be down. But it's like I said, it's a heads up. So you could come over here and just wait. As soon as you saw that first candle going in the opposite direction, I would jump out. And it's a really, really good tool to use. That way you know exactly when to jump out. You don't stay in too long, end up losing a ton of pips. And I hope this really helps you guys. I'm trying to think if there was something else. I could have sworn there was one other thing I wanted to show you guys. What was it? Oh, the margin percentage. You know what? I'm probably going to shoot a different video for that because I want to make sure you guys are keeping your account safe, especially since you're both going live, okay? All right, so if you guys have questions on this, just let me know. But like I said, your line is going to be different. You can make it yellow or you can make it whatever color you want. But remember, this line that's going to tell you if it's pulling back is the baseline. And that lagging line is the one you're always looking for as well. They should be facing the same way when you place a trade. If one is facing up and one is facing down, chances are it's pulling back somewhere and you're probably going to get caught up in it. So just make sure you always use those as your confirmation. If it's too much for you on your charts, distracting, because I know you guys are using Chris Derrick, I don't. But if it is distracting for his technique, because I know when you're using certain techniques, to have different lines can really mess you up. So what I would say is just hide them. If you click on this little eyeball here, it hides it. Oops, wait, hold on. I'm going to hide this one. There you go. So you can actually hide it. That way you won't see anything anymore. And then you guys can, use whatever technique you're using, or if you're using any other indicators or lines, you can use those. And then right before you jump in the trade, just take it back out as your confirmations, okay? All right, I'm not going to make this thing too long. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Bye-bye.